Today, I want to teach you some common and useful winter expressions. That's coming up. Hey everyone, my name is Wes. This is Interactive English, and this channel is all about just trying to help you practice and improve your English skills. And today, I want to talk about winter, because right now it's winter, especially if you are in the Northern Hemisphere. So I thought this would be a good time to teach you some different expressions that have words that are related to winter. Words like cold or ice or freeze. And to help you better understand these expressions, I'm going to throw in some video clips so that you can see how these phrases are used in context. So let's just begin with our first expression, which is to leave someone out in the cold. And what this means, if you leave someone out in the cold, it means that you are excluding someone from a group or some activity, and you're kind of ignoring this person and you are leaving them out in the cold. For example, maybe I want to participate in a game with a group of friends. But the game can only have so many people, and they say, sorry, we can't have any other players in the game. And I could say, wow, I can't believe you're just gonna leave me out in the cold. You're not going to let me participate in this activity, be a part of the group to leave someone out in the cold.
Yeah, sometimes you have to put yourself above the story.
Well, I don't want to leave you out in the cold.
Oh, you're not. It's not like we're a team anyway.
I want a job for Coach Tyrell. He's been with me for 10 years. I won't leave him out in the cold.
The next expression is a cold streak. And when you say that something is a cold streak, or maybe you say that you are on a cold streak, it refers to a time period when you're not having much success, or you're not achieving your desired outcome. It's like you keep losing again and again and again. You could say, well, you're on a little bit of a cold streak. Often I think people may use this in the context of sports, and they keep playing, they're participating in these matches, but they just happen to keep losing and they're on a cold streak. Or maybe people might use this when talking about dating, that you're trying to find and meet a boyfriend or girlfriend, and you keep asking people out on a date and the other person keeps saying no, then maybe, yeah, you could say you're on a little bit of a cold streak. Keep in mind, you could also say the opposite of this. If you are having a lot of success and you're always winning, then you are on a hot streak. So you could be on a cold streak if you're not having success, and a hot streak if you really are.
If you can't make it pay, I'll find somebody who can.
Coach, you're trying to put a charge on my ass.
You're on a cold streak. I'm trying to encourage you to catch fish.
Stacy loaned me some. I'm on a cold streak, but I'll pay her back. Let's go another round.
In cold blood. All right, yeah, it sounds a little scary. It's not a good thing. It means that something happens intentionally and without any feeling or emotion. Often, I think people would use this with the statement and say that someone was killed in cold blood, that they were killed by somebody that just had no feeling or emotion for what they did. So this is an expression that I think you would hear if you're watching some TV show or movie that has a lot of crime or drama, and they say that somebody was killed in cold blood, or you could say somebody was murdered in cold blood.
That Alexander Cullen is guilty of murdering 3 people in cold blood.
I watched you open fire in a room full of unarmed Starfleet officers.
You killed them in cold blood.
Then we have to give someone the cold shoulder. So this is a very common expression, and it means that you are intentionally unfriendly to someone. And in this case, I say that it's common because I think you would probably use this or hear it being used if you're talking about people that know each other, and perhaps people that maybe you might think this person is your friend, and you see this person out perhaps at a party, and you wave to them and they do not wave back, and they're ignoring you, and they seem like they're a little upset or angry, and they don't talk to you, you could say that that person is giving you the cold shoulder. And even if you think about it, like it's like you're giving somebody the shoulder, like you're turning away from that person. You don't want to talk to them, and it is something that's it's unfriendly to give someone the cold shoulder.
You want to get Lindsay back? You gotta give her the cold shoulder.
I don't know, man.
Maybe we need to go out there and find out what we're meant to do.
His wife was giving him the cold shoulder.
Out cold. All right. And I say it like that, like out cold, because it refers to somebody who is completely unconscious. And if you're unconscious, it just means you're not awake. And I think that this is an expression that would be used maybe if you're talking about people fighting. I think of boxing. When people are boxing, they're hitting each other. And if somebody gets hit in the head really hard, they may go unconscious, and you could say they're out cold.
What happened?
You hit your head on the doorway coming in. Got knocked out cold.
You okay?
Can't tell. He's knocked out cold.
Then we have pour cold water on something, or you could say to throw cold water on something. And well, think about it. If you throw water on something, usually you're trying to put it out. You're trying to stop it. And cold water, it has a little bit of a negative connotation. So if you are pouring cold water on something, you are just you're discouraging perhaps another person, or you're just being negative about something. Let me give you an example. Maybe you have a great idea, and I start saying all of these negative things that this is not going to work, you shouldn't do this, and I'm discouraging you. Then you could say that I'm pouring cold water on your idea, or I'm throwing cold water on your idea. But I would never do that to you. I wouldn't.
Lisa, one of the hardest jobs I have is throwing cold water on young children's dreams.
Tip of the iceberg. This is a great expression, and to help you understand the meaning, I just want you to picture an iceberg. An iceberg will stick out of the water in the ocean, but you only see a part of the iceberg. Underneath, in the water, there's a much bigger part of the iceberg that you don't see. So when you refer to something as the tip of the iceberg, you're saying that you're only able to see a small part of something that's much bigger. Often I think it's used to talk about something that is a problem or just some bad situation. And if you want to say that you only know about a little bit of it, then you could say, well, this is just the tip of the iceberg. That there is a lot more just underneath that we're not able to see right now. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
I just got a little panicky. Change is not easy for me, Charlie.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
And I'm not just talking about the clothes. The clothes are only the tip of the iceberg.
Everything is gone. Mom and Pop vanished. So all my sneakers are gone?
I'm afraid so. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Then we have to break the ice. And this is a very common expression because what it means is that when you have a group of people that do not know each other, you want everyone to feel a little more relaxed and a little more comfortable. And you might say, let's break the ice. Let's do something so that we feel a little more relaxed talking to one another, and you can get to know somebody and you want to break the ice. You could also use it as a noun if you're talking about some activity to help people feel a little more relaxed, and you would call that an icebreaker. Anytime I start a new class, I always like to begin with an icebreaker so that all of the students feel very comfortable and they're relaxed, and it's a good way to break the ice.
That's it. Don't be shy. Now maybe a little joke to break the ice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's me, Leo Getz. Whatever you need, Leo Getz. You get it? I use that all the time to break the ice when I meet people. You know, it's good.
Next is the expression to put a freeze on something. And what this refers to is a policy that will temporarily stop something. And I think you might often use this in the context of maybe business. So a company may have a policy and they want to put a freeze on hiring. They want to temporarily stop hiring new employees. So they have this policy and they'll put a freeze on hiring.
No, we're going to talk about this now. Or if you'd prefer, I could put a permanent freeze on the education budget.
Then we have freeze up. So this is a phrasal verb, and what it means if someone freezes up, it means that a person becomes very anxious and they are unable to move or speak. And you could say that they just freeze up. I think people will use this phrasal verb when they're talking about perhaps somebody's giving a presentation and they're in front of a group of people and maybe they forget what they're going to say and they just freeze up. Or perhaps in a play, if somebody forgets their lines and they're in front of the audience and then they just freeze up. So I think often people may use this when they're talking about be doing something in front of a larger group of people, perhaps an audience, and you suddenly become anxious and you forget what you're supposed to say. You can't move, you just freeze up. Sometimes it does. It happens to me when I'm creating these lessons and, well, perhaps I just forget what I'm supposed to talk about. I forget where I'm at in the lesson and I just freeze up. But I never show you that. Then we have the expression, what? I forgot. Which one am I on?
That flash on the roof nearly gave me a heart attack. I stop. I freeze up. I can't.
I don't know what happened in there, and I just froze up. I locked up. I'm sorry.
When hell freezes over. So this is an expression that people would use just to say never, that something is never going to happen. Because the idea is that, well, hell is just never going to freeze. So if I'm talking about something like the World Cup, and I think that the U.S. is going to win the World Cup. I'm very excited for it. You don't believe me. Maybe you think I'm crazy. It's never going to happen. You could just say, well, when hell freezes over. Or another way you could use this is you could say that the U.S. will win the World Cup when hell freezes over. So in that case, you're saying the thing that's never going to happen, and then you follow it with when hell freezes over. The U.S. will win when hell freezes over.
We made some adjustments. Look at page 9.
I don't understand. Are you selling me the dealership or not? When hell freezes over.
And when will the church see any of this money?
When hell freezes over, suckers!
Then we have to freeze someone out. And what this means is that you are excluding someone socially from perhaps a group or an activity, and usually in an unfriendly way. So in that case, it's a little similar to be left out in the cold because, again, you're ignoring someone. But the difference is to be left out in the cold, it refers to you're not able to be part of the group. If you're freezing someone out, maybe you're a part of the group, but nobody's talking to you. They're not interacting with you socially. So maybe I go to a friend's party and everybody's mad at me. And nobody's talking to me, they're not being social with me, I could say they're freezing me out. Or maybe at a company, you could say the group froze out the new employees during the meeting, that they weren't talking to them, they weren't interacting with them socially, to freeze someone out.
He didn't want to talk to us about being angry. Maybe we don't talk to him at all.
Freeze him out.
That's right. Yeah? We'll show him.
Somebody help me out here. Chip? Karen? Tino? Larry? You can't freeze me out like this. We're on a first-name basis.
So now for a quick review. In the future, I have so many more English lessons for you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I know that before I told you that we use this mostly with a bad situation. In this case, it's a good thing. There are many more great English lessons that you haven't seen just yet. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I know that, well, sometimes the channel, it can hit a little bit of a cold streak. Maybe not as many people are watching the videos, maybe not getting as many likes or comments. Perhaps it's because I freeze up in the middle of the lesson. Even if that happens, I promise I will not give up. I will never give you the cold shoulder because you are an important part of the interactive English community, and I'm just not going to leave you out in the cold. So I hope that you could easily understand what I was just saying because you just learned the meaning of all of these different winter expressions. And if you enjoyed the lesson, please hit that like button. It'll really help me get back on a hot streak, and I will see you in the next lesson. So long.